Shalom. Kohlo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And I'm gonna just touch on this crisis over there in Cuba. Because what you see and what you got going on is the Lord is putting hell on the tribes all across the four corners of the earth. And over there in Cuba, you have the tribe of Manasseh, right? Out of the house of Joseph, in the northern kingdom of Israel. Manasseh was the firstborn, of Joseph, and so was Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans. Which you have a lot of Puerto Ricans, so-called Puerto Ricans over there in Cuba as well, and so-called Negroes. But Yahweh Shem Yahushua is putting hell on the tribes. So you got the hammer of the whole earth, which is Babylon the Great, showing his horns and pretty much cutting Cuba off from whatever energy they was giving them, whatever supplies or anything, man, just cutting them off. And that's this devil. That's what goes on with a lot of the tribes, man. They trust this devil, and he pretty much, shits on them. And I've heard that Jamaica, the Benjamites over there in Jamaica was trying to send oil to Cuba, and one of the elders told me this, and America pretty much shut it down. He said, if y'all send oil to Cuba, we're gonna put tariffs on Jamaica. So they pretty much paused that. But then I heard, a brother say that we was on the live. I got to fact check that on that. Russia has sent 2 oil tanker ships, which I think got intercepted by Babylon, by America. 2 oil tankers they was sending to Cuba to help them in this crisis. But yeah, you hear brothers say you got to get out of America, you got to go here, you got to go there. The Lord is going to put hell on the tribes wherever they are, man, throughout the 4 corners of the earth. There's no way you can go to escape the Lord's judgment. If the judgment is for you, that's like saying you wicked. You a wicked nigga. And throughout your wickedness, you've obtained financial gain a lot, to where you're able to move anywhere you want. So you mean to tell me if you move to, let's just say, Brazil or Chile or Jamaica or wherever, the Lord's judgment is not going to find you there? That's a crazy way to think, but and it's idiotic. But yeah, this is the life of the tribes in these last days, and it's gonna get worse. And them Manassites over there in Cuba, this is not the first rodeo as far as the lights going out. I did a video, I believe it was probably a year or 2 ago, where they had another blackout, man. So they catching hell, real hell over there too. So you can't escape the Lord's judgment and the curses that's gonna fall on the tribes. So let's listen in. I got a couple of scripts and we're gonna just shut it down. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect be edified. Shalom.
In Havana, the roar of classic engines is giving way to the hum of electric batteries and the rhythm of pedaling feet as Cuba faces one of its worst fuel shortages in decades.
I used to be a driver. I used to drive a vintage car, but because of the petrol and oil situation, we had to find this alternative, a tricycle. There is no other way to keep the population moving.
The fuel shortages have also led to severe power cuts, forcing tricycle drivers to charge whenever electricity is available. Some have mounted solar panels on their tricycles, hoping to stay on the road when the grid goes dark. Electric tricycles carrying up to 8 passengers have become the new buses.
Now, bicycle taxis and electric tricycles are the modes of transportation that will be used here in Cuba. The bicycle taxi will be for local use, and the tricycle will be able to travel a long distance. Anything fuel-based is collapsing.
For many, the ingenious transport allows them to continue to work, study, or reach a hospital, but at a cost.
This transportation helps a lot economically, and it helps us get around. Without the other means of transportation we used to get around, we have to resort to this, and as a last resort to tricycles. But this is more expensive.
For now, electric tricycles are keeping Havana moving, but they show how far this island has had to go just to keep on going. Hamza Muhammad, Al Jazeera.
Don't miss out. Get the full
That's crazy, man. You know, and Jake meaning Jacob, the Israelites. Whenever something goes down, they find a way, man. Jake always find a way, but man, it's a food crisis, it's a oil crisis. So they catching hell, man. But over there in Cuba, man, they worship, many gods over there. They have they got this thing you call I don't know if I'm gonna say it right, but I'm gonna try. It's called arichas. Yeah, it says let me share this. So right here it says the supreme being, it said practitioners of Santeria believe in a single supreme creator deity known as Olo Olodumare. I don't know if I said it right, but because Olodumare is considered distant and accessible to humans. Believers interact with intermediaries known as arichas. It said the major arichas. There are roughly 400 arichas in the Aruba pantheon, but about 20 are regularly worshipped in Cuba, which is associated with specific colors, natural elements, and a corresponding Catholic saint. So these are some of them, man. Orchun, Okun, it says goddess of love, beauty, fertility, and rivers, right? It says Chango, god of fire, thunder, lightning, and masculinity. Yamaya, mother of all, goddess of the sea and maternity, so on and so forth, man. So they deal with Catholicism over there. They worship other gods. They have shrines with these gods in it, you know. Let's see if I can go back. Yeah, right here, look. Cuban Santeria traditions and practices. They got shrines set up. They got, this right here going on. So it's a lot, man. That they do out there in Cuba, man. When I first got with my rib and all that, she was pretty much into this. Not all the way, but she used to have certain things around the house, but she got rid of that a long time ago. That's all through the spirit power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So, this is one reason why our people are catching hell, man. Amongst other reasons. This is a serious reason. The Lord says, in this the the commandments that you shall worship no other God, man. But our people have done that, and they're doing that, man. You think these people in Cuba, what you have, you know, brothers that reach the Manassites over there in Cuba, but you think they worshiping Yahweh Bashem Shah as a whole, or you know, of a massive population over there? No. The same as over here in America, Babylon the Great. But this is gonna come to America real soon, man. The lights gonna go out. There's gonna be a food shortage, and it's different over here in America because this is like a first world country. This is the top country supposed to be, right? So the people here are very, very proud, and they are very they get what's the word? Everything is more convenient over here. So, people are very spoiled. So when this come to America, man, people going to lose it. You see them losing it already. But let me get a couple of scripts and we're going to shut it down. This is Deuteronomy. I'm going to go straight to the curses. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 29. This is how you know that, our people are scattered, man, because our people are catching hell everywhere, man. It says, Deuteronomy 28:29. It said, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. Our people have done that, man. Trying to find, other gods and other things to worship other than Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and find a way. Our people have been doing that since we've been in this captivity, man. It says, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. And this is what's going on in Colombia as well, Cuba, Chile, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, wherever, man. Jamaica, Haiti, over here in America, it's the same song, man. Right? The Lord said nobody gonna save us. Let's jump to verse 45. Because all these things are happening to us for our disobedience, man. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. Right? So because we didn't keep what the Lord told us to keep, all these curses are going to be on our ass, man. It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, man. Meaning through a dispensation of time. It says, because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and gladness of the heart for the abundance of all things, because you would rather go to your reaches, whatever you call them, right? Right? You would rather go to your reaches. That's gonna be your curse, man. You're gonna be cursed. You're gonna catch hell because of that. It says, therefore, shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And who is Cuba in league with? America. The Cubans had to go to the so-called white man, Esau Edom, for their prosperity, man. Right? For their gladness. For their help. So, it ties in, man. It says, in want of all things, and he should have put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee, man. And those Manassites over there in Chile, man, they they went into slavery. Those people are Israelites that was dropped off on the ship in Cuba, man. Right? The same as everywhere else, man. When the slave ships didn't land and dock in one specific place, they made many stops, and Cuba was one of them. Right? So it's it's very it's very easy to see, right? And our people over there, they're very proud too, because if you have darker skin, they treat you a certain way in Cuba. The same in all of these so-called Latin countries, man. Right? They hate their brothers because of their skin tone. Right? But they all the same people. Right? That it's is very so-called racist over there in Cuba. They have a hatred. They have a hatred for dark-skinned Cubans. The same as when you go to DR, and I've been to DR a couple of times and felt the the energy. The same with over there in Mexico, man. So you got that going on as well. So the Lord is going to judge and is judging you Israelites, man. Let me get through this. It says, verse 49. It said, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, shall bring a nation against thee from far. Who's that? So-called white man America. Right? It says, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So this was who? The Spaniards, man. Right? The Spaniards, who are Edomites, man. It says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the persons of the old, nor show favor to the young. Right? So it's there, man. Let's go to 64. It said, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So that's what our people are into over there. I showed you a little bit of what it is. Santeria, they got 20 different gods that they worship over there, man. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So even unto this day, man, our people are catching hell over there in Cuba. Right? They're called Afro-Cubans, but you're going to have some that look like Edomites over there. Right? Israelites are going to come looking like every nation. Because what? We were scattered into all nations. So, whatever you want to believe, it is what it is, man. We know that, the Israelites are over there in Cuba, and they speak so-called Spanish. Well, it is Spanish, but they speak a different language, a bastard language, man. That's not their language. So, I just wanted to touch on this. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, willing to elect was other Father, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Kadash, for blessing me with the Spirit to do this lesson. To the next lesson, I'm going to say Shalom.
We used to get around. We have to resort to this, and as a last resort to tricycles. But this is more expensive.
For now, electric tricycles are keeping Havana moving, but they show how far this island has had to go just to keep on going. Hamza Muhammad, Al Jazeera.
Don't miss